40 Racewear, makers of the ultimate sim racing shoes and custom apparel designed for sim racing by sim racers. 40 racing shoes are engineered to connect racers to the pedals in a way no other racing shoe can, all the while giving you the comfort needed to complete those double and triple stints. Visit 40racewear.com and check out the latest sim racing products that let you connect to your sim. Forty Racewear, makers of the ultimate sim racing shoes and custom apparel designed for sim racing by sim racers. 40 racing shoes are engineered to connect racers to the pedals in a way no other racing shoe can, all the while giving you the comfort needed to complete those double and triple stints. Visit 40racewear.com and check out the latest sim racing products that let you connect to your sim. Forty Racewear, makers of the ultimate sim racing shoes and custom apparel designed for sim racing by sim racers. 40 racing shoes are engineered to connect racers to the pedals in a way no other racing shoe can, all the while giving you the comfort needed to complete those double and triple stints. Visit 40racewear.com and check out the latest sim racing products that let you connect to your sim. Forty Racewear, makers of the ultimate sim racing shoes and custom apparel designed for sim racing by sim racers. 40 racing shoes are engineered to connect racers to the pedals in a way no other racing shoe can, all the while giving you the comfort needed to complete those double and triple stints. Visit 40racewear.com and check out the latest sim racing products that let you connect to your sim.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Green White Checkered TV, where tonight we have the Area 51 Super Speedway Sunday Super Speedway Truck Series, one of those ways of doing it, here tonight at Daytona International Speedway. Drivers putting down their qualifying laps as we speak for their 75 scheduled lap event. And again, with this being race number 3, it has been, at the moment, Josh Purcell getting the best results, finishing first on race number 1, finishing second in race number 2. We chatted with him. He said, I'd rather not continue the trend and go to third in race number 3. So we'll be keeping an eye on that number 57 truck this evening. Charles Johnson, last week's winner, is not here tonight. Unfortunately, had some prior commitments that he had to take care of there. And lurking in the points as well with 2 fourth-place finishes is Gabe Butler. And so we know Gabe's going to want to try to get a top 3 because we know he wants to chat with me. So that's the only reason why these guys race, is to try to get that podium and get that top 3 interview. So joking aside, hope you all are having a wonderful Sunday evening. Like I said, race number 3 looks like we'll have about, I think, 16-ish cars somewhere in that window. A few drivers not able to make it, like I mentioned with Charles Johnson. And so I have a feeling we'll have a few more coming in the next few weeks. So definitely, of course, if you're interested, take a look over at area51iracing.com. Get some more info about the league. If not for this season, maybe look into a future season getting over here. Sunday nights is the super speedway side of things. Tuesday night is the IndyCar open wheel side of things. And then Sunday is the trucks, but at the 1.5 type style NASCAR ovals. So not super speedway only there, definitely some other types of racing. We've had Charlotte, we've had Chicagoland as the last 2 races. So always a good time over there as well. Looks like we've still got a few minutes left to go in qualifying. Actually looks like just about a minute left. And we've got actually it looks like 11 of the drivers have put a lap down in the moment. I still see about 5 yet to put a lap in. And again, sometimes the strategy for those drivers to maybe just kind of stay in the back, wait things out a little bit and see how it goes. Do need to mention, of course, as always, 2 fast repairs, 2 green, white checkers available for these drivers should they need it. And then also the other thing on the side of these things is fuel mileage. Sounds like it's going to be roughly in the low 20s or so. I don't think anybody's going to be able to pull off a 2-stopper on a scheduled distance. I think we'll have to pull a 3rd stop in, which that way, kind of same thing, allows for some strategies in racing, and should be a lot of fun to see what these guys have in store for us this evening. And then, of course, the last thing for those that are watching, first off, appreciate your support for watching and supporting us here on the channel. And then, of course, the other part is if there's a driver you would like to see, someone you're interested in, be it friend, family, or just a truck that you like the paint scheme of, by all means, please chime in. That's why we're doing this, is so you can see who you want to see. Because, yeah, I mean, I see things differently, and yeah, sometimes if I leave one of your drivers out, call me out and say, hey, I haven't seen enough of this guy, and we'll make sure we jump over to that. So again, though, thank you all for watching and supporting. And yeah, with that, I think we are just about to start to grid these trucks up tonight. All right, field starting to grid up here. And so we're going to pull up our starting grid for tonight's event. And we just mentioned he wants to get an interview with me, and that is going to be that 88 of Gabe Butler on pole this evening. Dean Wilkinson's his outside in that number 55. In row number 2, it will be Josh Purcell. Again, finished first, second. He's going to start 3rd tonight, so we'll see if that trend continues. Everett Lane there 4th. You got Eric Laurie in 5th. Mark Cohn in that 6th position. Really excited to have Eric back out on track. I'd say he's been getting some recovery time in. You get Gary Huffines in 7th. Cole Cannon in P8, row number 4. Row 5, rounding our top 10, will be Jack Walls in the 83 truck. Bob Fitzgerald in that 08 Chevrolet. Row 6 and 11th will be Bud Steele in that number 6. Next to him, Justin Davis in the number 10. Robert Rock in 13th. Hayden Davis in the 14th position. Birthday boy Hayden Davis, as we just found out. In 15th, Brian Bussard and Brendan Briggs. They're 15th and 16th. And it looks like those will be the last 2 rows on the grid here tonight. So, yeah, so first off, we got to definitely wish a very, very happy birthday to Hayden Davis. And I say we'll go full zoom in on that number 19 Area 51 truck. Say a lot of fun to see those guys. And yeah, excited to see what they have in store for us. I've been watching them all season. Hayden and Justin, Brandon Briggs been racing with them as well with the underdog team. So look forward to see if they can get some luck. Honestly, at this point in this season, it feels like it's one of those things where it just hasn't been going their way. They've had the speed, they've had the strategy, just one way or the other, they kind of get caught up in something out of their doing. So see if maybe we'll get some birthday luck tonight for that number 19. And I have a feeling we'll see a cousin and a teammate trying to do their best to get him up there. So good luck tonight, Brandon. Appreciate you popping in over here. But don't type and chat too much here during the racing. Been spying over on the Discords as well. So on the underdog side of things, we have Brandon Briggs, Hayden Davis, and Justin Davis. Boonark side of things, we have Eric Laurie, Everett Lane, Gabe Butler, Gary Huffines, and Mark Cohn. Roswell, we have Bud Steele and Jack Walls. Over on TW side, we have Bob Fitzgerald, Cole Cannon, Dean Wilkinson, Josh Purcell, and Robert Rock. And then rolling solo again, I think this guy needs to find a team to pop in with and kind of get some extra help though. And that is going to be Brian Bussard, and he is going to be starting in that 27 truck there. And went back to that 20. Say been bouncing schemes around the FC Cincinnati truck. That's a really good looking paint scheme as well. Honestly, I'd say he might be one of my favorites so far for kind of changing up the paint schemes and having some good ones. So big shout out to him on that one. That said, though, we are about to get underway here. It is going to be Gabe Butler leading the way, and then he's going to have Dean Wilkinson to his outside. They're just waiting to see that green flag come in the air, and we'll start our 75-lap scheduled distance tonight here at Daytona. And green flag is down. We are away. 75-lap scheduled distance at Daytona. Gabe Butler and Dean Wilkinson. Right now, they got their opposite teammates on the other sides of them. You got a TW on the inside, got a boot knocker on the outside. So right now, it's going to be competition, pushing competition, but these guys very familiar with one another as they head into 1 and 2 and 2 gap backstretch for the first time. See a nose ahead for Dean Wilkinson. He's going to drop down in front of Gabe. Try to see if he can get lap number 1, but we'll see. Does Gabe going to react? He's got some space in front of his teammate there in that 24. And sure enough, as we were switching their cameras, say 88 pops in front of that 24. And so that lead at the line looks like it's going to be tight, but will go to the 88. So put a bonus point in the cap of Gabe Butler. Of course, you really want to get those cleared out early if you can. He's got a great group of guys behind him there with Everett Lane, Gary Huffines up top there, as well as Mark Cohn. So I believe actually that's 3 of the boot knocker drivers there up in that top spot. Lone driver kind of on their own of that team is on the inside lane, but he's got some great help though with Josh Purcell and Dean Wilkinson. Right now though, momentum definitely on that top side. As you can see, they've been able to clear the first 3, just about 4 trucks there waiting. If Mark Cohn can clear, I wonder if he calls out, hey, I'm clear. See if they all drop to the bottom. Right now looks like they are pretty content running that middle lane here as they come to start lap number 3. Again, Gabe going to lead the way here. But yeah, so great pushing momentum. Definitely strong on this top side these opening couple laps. Right now, Dean continues to be that truck leading the inside lane. Again, teammate right behind him with Josh Purcell in the 57. Then you got Jack Walls in that 83 truck. Jack's teammate Bud Steele behind him in that 6, number 4 there, the blue truck there in the Navy paint scheme. And yeah, right now you can see the numbers right now. It is definitely up on that top side where everybody wants to be. But again, though, there is going to be a little bit more fuel saving down the inside lane, shorter distance, of course. And of course, if you're also that 3rd, 4th truck on the inside lane, Eric Laurie there. Saw just a slight bit of contact as he dropped down to the inside in front of that 08 to Bob Fitzgerald. And I think Bob rolled out of it a little bit, and so he's cost him a couple of tenths, but shouldn't be too much of a concern because he's still in that draft safely. He's got also 2 pushers with Robert Rock and Brian Bussard as well. So I think they're in a pretty good position here still to not be too concerned about that draft situation. But yeah, right now though, it's been this middle lane has been where it's at. I am starting to see Josh Purcell starting to get a little more aggressive on that push to that 55. You see right there, the big lift off in ring 3. Probably temperature starting to get a little high in that 57 Kit Kat Chevy. I'll see a slight top 4 breakaway from that 801 of Cole Cannon. And right now, though, they've been able to get to that rear quarter panel of Mark Cohn there in that 39 truck. So at the moment now, the 4 of them could not drop down. Right now, they look pretty content, though, to still, like I said, run that top side. And I mean, I've been watching Everett Lane, and he has been locked onto the back bumper of Gabe Butler. Kind of see out the back here, and that's pretty much what Gabe's been seeing all race long is that 24 truck. And you can see Everett there just staggering off a little bit, trying to keep that truck a little cooler, and then he'll get to lock back down in here. But look at the separation, that maybe just that teeny bit, though. The momentum now, Gene Wilkinson, he's got right to the side of Gabe Butler. You can see at 57, he is pushing for all he is worth here. And again, though, Gabe will lead that lap at the line. So right now, advantage still to the 88, but it looks like, oh, it's definitely an ebb and flow right there. I saw the 18 just get a little unsettled there behind the 24. Looks like able to grab it nicely, though. So probably a little bit of a pucker moment, but looks to be all good to go. So like I mentioned, 16 trucks starting the field here tonight. And right now it's been the boot knockers on the top side there. They said they got 4 of the 5 in the Discord or in this main group up top. Like I said, Eric Laurie right now, the odd man out. Right now he's kind of rolling the inside lane there behind Bud Steele. But again, they're still early on here, still plenty of time. Probably another, I would say, 15-ish laps minimum before they have to make their first scheduled set of pit stops. And that'll be the telltale also to see how early or late do these drivers pit, to see if there's anybody that's going to try to pull a different strategy, maybe short pitting and try to split these pit stops up evenly, or are they going to maybe try something a little different and run a couple of them long and then short pit at the very end. So there's a lot of ways you can go about this here, and when you have numbers, it definitely gives you some options. So the magic number, like I said, I believe this is going to be a 3-stop race. And so magic number there is going to be 19 laps. You need to go 19 if you want to split this race evenly. And of course, if they try to pull off a 2-stop, they'd have to go 25 laps. So I don't think that's going to be viable. We'll kind of, again, we'll have to wait and see as we get closer. But from what I was seeing in practice, it sounded like it's probably going to be a 3-stop race. I think you could see maybe lap 23-ish maybe on fuel for a full stretch, but I don't think you'll be able to see the full run to 25, and it's going to take full commit from the absolute beginning if that is the plan for any of these drivers. So that's going to be, again, a big thing to wait and see. And I kind of want to see somebody try to split this thing evenly, hitting those pit stops around that lap 19 mark and basically just running every 19 laps on pit road. I'm wondering if that'll cut out maybe a little bit of fuel, maybe cut out that second can of fuel, a little bit of that stretch to the outside wall there. That's going to stack up that outside lane there with the 18 just catching the wall. You can see just still a little unsettled there for Gary Huffines. Now he's starting to get it regathered up here, but that does separate that top lane a little bit, so that could be an advantage here for Dean Wilkinson. And you can see again, though, right on the bumper of that 55 is the 57 of Josh Purcell, trying to do everything he can right now to try to get Dean up to the point. And you can see now Gary has gone back up to the 24 truck, but those are those little things, little momentum shifts that can change kind of which lane has that speed going. Yeah, looks like these guys kind of cruise control at the moment. I saw for just a second, it looked like Justin Davis was toying with that middle lane there as the 801 there of Cole Cannon had just a little bit of an opening. And again, I think it's too early for that now, but you'll probably see at some point, if you see an opening like that for him, you might see some drivers try to take advantage of that and jump in there. But yeah, the couple drivers I'm a little surprised about to see kind of just cruise control as much as they are. One of those is really Robert Rock to me. He's been extremely fast these last couple of seasons since he's come back here. And right now he's pretty much right where he started. I think he's just, he's kind of decided I'm going to go cruise control early on here. Not really push the issue too much. And again, maybe trying to do a big fuel mileage save in this one. Again, looking at the drivers and teams, he does have the 801 of Cole Cannon. With him, I say a little further back there, but some of the other drivers that he does have along with him here is Bob Fitzgerald. So those two are right with each other, lockstep on track. So like I said, we'll see if that does anything. But right now, not a lot of movement. Right now, the highest climber at the moment is Jack Walls in that 83 Pennzoil truck, sitting right around 3 spots gained. And Jack is one of those that I've got to race with plenty, and definitely got to race with him on the Roswell side of things too. So have the Discord strategy, and he's always been one that I look at for fuel mileage. And so right now, I kind of see the gap that he's leaving onto that 57 truck. Same for Bud Steele. These guys, I think, are sipping fuel, and that can be that strategy where they decide, you know what, let's go and basically run this thing as long as we can, or maybe we pit when there's a big group, but they'll be able to take a little less fuel on their stop, and maybe that lets them jump that pack. So there's definitely strategies to that big fuel save. As right now, like I said, though, it's been pretty much these 3 up top, though they've been pretty committed to each other. And again, I don't see any reason not to. Like I said, they're all part of that same organization on the Discord side of things. So I think the question mark is going to be once we get closer to that pit window, and again, I would say maybe 10 laps or so, when do we see that move to try to find their way down? Because that's the next step, is eventually everybody's going to get a little antsy and try to find their way down to the bottom. And it's going to be Dean Wilkinson's job and Josh Purcell. They don't want to open the door for those guys to all clear down. They want to see if they can force them to have to drop back and find a safe place to get in line to then have to pit. And so again, they don't have to roll over from, and basically that second lane, you're not pitting from that second lane, and you're going to have a bad time, and a lot of the field is, but also the admins will definitely frown upon something like that, as we've had it before, but overall it's not been too much of an issue lately. But now I'm watching, again, 39 is the truck I'm going to be focused on, Mark Cohn. If the 4 of them clear, I'm wondering if this is now the time where they say, hey, yeah, we're still 10 laps away, but this would be a good opportunity to switch to the bottom. And you can see they are all easily clear, but the answer is no. They stay content to be up top here. And that's right on cue. I didn't even have a chance to key it up. I was going to mention Cole Cannon, one of the TW drivers, though. He's going to clear his teammate in the 55, Dean Wilkinson. Maybe Cole can take advantage of his teammate there and say, hey, let me hop in front of you, Dean. That way we have 3 TW drivers now on that inside lane. And Dean immediately right on that rear bumper. And that's going to also allow, we always talk about that 3rd truck in line, very crucial to the speed of these things. And so now we can see Josh Purcell as well right on the back bumper of that 55. And you can see already that's starting to make a big improvement for the pace of that inside lane. Because again, the closer the 3rd truck is to the 2nd truck, it just makes things that much, just basically helps that line out that much more. So, and you can see they've actually kind of broken away with that tandem that Dean's got going on right now. See, he's got temperature to burn too, because he's been leading that inside lane for laps. So that truck had not been getting hot, so he's going to be able to lock on and just push like there's no tomorrow for maybe about a half a lap or a lap. And now he's going to probably start trying to find some openings here to try to cool that water temp off a little. Seth, it is good to see you, sir. I'd rather see you on track, but I hope you and your brother and family are all doing well. As see Gabe Butler there, I don't know if that was an intentional lane change there. I think that was a bump that got that 88 loose and just luckily had some opening to get down to the bottom. And so that's going to split up the teammates there. So, but yeah, that looked like a bump that got that 88 unsettled and just was able to kind of get down to that inside line. So, but yeah, no, Seth, I hope the Groovers all are doing well. Definitely also always loved your mom. Say it was always a blast having her peeking in the chats and rooting you guys on during the races. So, yeah, hope you guys are all doing well. Just see another Bootnocker team there able to sneak clear of that 801. And again, like I said, everybody's going to start to funnel themselves down to the inside, but that leaves 2 of their teammates now out to dry. And you can see right now that Mark Coney is trying to push that 18 of Gary Huffines now. They haven't been in this nose-to-tail pushing situation. They've been able to be that 3rd and 4th truck, so now they're having to try to do the same thing as the 88 and the 24, the first basically 15 laps or so. But yeah, like I mentioned, though, you can see the trucks are all starting to file down to the inside line, and Cole Cannon, they're just being able to squeeze back in front of Dean. But we mentioned, though, I'm thinking about drivers like Jack Walls we were talking about. He was about the 5th truck in line there. Actually, we're going to jump back up because it looks like the 18 and the 39 actually able to clear the 88 and the 24. Wondering maybe they rolled out of it just a little bit, try to see if they can get that line in here. But I was talking about Jack Wells, Bud Steele. Remember, they were top 5 or so in that inside line. They're now all the way back outside the top 10. So this is where, again, for me, I like the fuel saving strategy early on. Just kind of ride, save fuel. There's no need to make some big moves yet. And then as we start to get to about this point in the race is where I say I want to do exactly what we see the Davises and Brandon Briggs do. And that's jump to that top side here and just basically try to find your way towards the front here. And you can see Brandon right now, he is hanging on the back of those 2 in front of him. And like I mentioned, let's say Hayden's looking for a big birthday present tonight in that 19. As Brandon just going to slot in front of the 8-1. And yeah, actually that inside line's really kind of backed up a bunch. Is the best way I can describe it here. And so that's a great opportunity here for Hayden and Justin to try to slot in front of their teammate. And actually, look at that. They're going to split the 24 of Everett Lane, and we've got a complete single file train here. And you can see the space out that they have too. Let's see if we're going to see any takers here, like we talked about, maybe trying to split this thing on the lap 19 mark, because we're going to come around and take that lap 19 situation now. But right now, like I said, you've got a train on this inside line, and this is normally where I'd run through the field and show off all the wonderful paint schemes and show off our drivers. But I have a feeling we're going to see some guys hit pit road here in just a moment. What we're going to do is let's drop back here. We're going to hop on board with Brian Bussard because right now he's the caboose, and not by any means like an insult or anything like that. But right now you can see he's got the train in front of him. And again, look at timing and scoring. He's now 2 seconds behind that lead truck. So that's where he cannot make any mistakes, because any little hiccup for him is he's already at that deficit. So like I said, that's where they maybe get a little antsy. You want to try to get to that second lane and pull forward and move yourself forward in this thing. So like I said, at this point, I think it's just kind of who blinks first for that pit stop cycle. I just don't know really where it's going to be. You would think, honestly, Gabe Butler will probably be the first of those that does have to hit pit road in that 88 truck. And so if he does, you're going to see the 2 trucks in front of him, the 18, the 39, and then another truck back, the 24. You'll see all of those guys hit pit road together. I would presume we'll see Eric Laurie do the same. The downside for Eric, though, is you can see he is, again, there's Eric here, and there's the 24. So there's a handful of trucks in between them. And we'll see if we see him. Man, here you go. They're going to start peeling off. We'll see how many come in with them. As it's going to be Gary Huffines, and that looked, I think that's a lot of trucks too hot. Oh, Cole Cannon catches the inside wall a tiny bit. I think we're going to see a lot of speeding penalties on this one. These trucks looked like they were coming with a huge head of steam here. And so that's it. We're going to have to wait and see, because that could really split up that pack. And now this opens up these guys here with Justin Davis, Hayden Davis, Brandon Briggs. Then you got Bud Steele there, Jack Walls, and Robert Rock right now. He is pedaling that truck for all he's worth. Needs to get up to those guys, and also maybe just takes a risk of getting real aggressive on the pit road entry here to try to make some of that time up, because he's actually starting to click. He's clicking a little closer, but not nearly as close as he wants. And so, yeah, here you go. This is going to be the rest of the group here hitting pit road. You see everybody trying to separate themselves a little bit here. Make sure nobody steps on each other's toes as Brandon Briggs is threading that needle to that inside wall. And so I can tell you, Dean Wilkinson, Josh Purcell, Mark Cohn, and Gary Huffines all too fast on entry. They're still serving their stop and holds. As you can see, Brandon Briggs, I think, overshot his pit stall. Yep, throws it in reverse. Quick to respond, though. But that could cost him the main pack here as well. So now we're going to see Jack Walls is the furthest up of this pack that pitted. I saw left side tires. Down goes Jack. Bud Steele has not budged yet. Now he goes. Very short stops for Jack Walls there. And too good of a stop is going to be what I say there. Ooh, 19 there in the 6th. A little squeeze on pit exit. But yeah, I'm a little nervous right now for Jack here. Just because he's got such a big lead here that I'm almost wondering if maybe a fuel strategy at play, because the 83 and the 6, they either saved a ton of fuel or they short-filled these trucks, because it was a 9-second stop for the 83 and for the 6 trucks. Everybody else is in that 11 to 12 second range. I do wonder if that's the difference from adding that second can of fuel, and that's where that fuel save could come into play. So right now, though, Jack is rolling solo, but you can see, though, here come the other trucks, though, and it's 3 of the boot knockers. Are kind of the OGs, if you will. Very familiar for me with Everett Lane, Gabe Butler, Eric Laurie. And right now, Justin Davis, Bud Steele, they're just trying to push as hard as they can to get up to them. And for Jack Walls, he's doing everything he can right now. And that's going to be, again, make him run the outside line, go a little further around the distance. And then as soon as they clear, he's going to probably need to jump up, grab the draft here. And he's going to have help, though. So he's going to have that 10. He's going to have the 6. So those guys will be able to get in line with them. But unfortunately, Josh Purcell right now, kind of the odd man out in that 57 truck, as right now he's going to be about to be the first put one down. And so we'll watch to see what the strategy is for him as well, because safely he's the only truck one down. So that's the only kind of silver lining, is he just needs to stay in this draft and keep this thing clean, and then he'll be in a good spot. So we'll keep an eye on this, and then we'll run through to kind of see how the field has split up after this first set of pit stops. And yeah, there you go. He's going to jump up top, let those guys go on by, go one lap down. Like I said, though, should be able to tag right on the back of Bud Steele here, and then put himself right back into contention. It's actually that last lap catching those guys. Bud Steele actually wound up just right there running the fastest lap of the race. And there you go. Josh tucks in line there. Is one down, but again, importantly, though, in that main pack. So then we're going to go a couple seconds back, about 3 seconds back, to this trio here. And that's going to be Hayden Davis, Brandon Briggs, and Robert Rock. And again, for Brandon Briggs, I mean, we saw what happened. He just overshot his pit stall, had to reverse it. And that was the difference between him being in this main pack and not, unfortunately. And it reflects as well in his pit lane time, as Everett Lane was 38.23 seconds in the pit lane. Brandon Briggs was 41.17. So 3 second difference. That's all it takes, unfortunately, to fall out of that main pack. So right now, those guys are pushing for all they're worth. And then I got to say, though, lap time-wise, they're doing a great job. You see right there, Brandon's going to jump top. He's getting too hot. And they're going to switch over here, let Robert Rock take pushing duties. And unfortunately, though, that separation is going to cost them a ton of time. But again, though, I mean, it's what they have to do in order not to overheat that truck, because that's right now Brandon's got to keep that truck to be able to be there at the end of the race. So up front, though, staying pretty stable here. We'll drop back Cole Cannon, unfortunately, right now rolling solo in that 10th spot. He will get some help soon, because he's got Brian Bussard that is about 5 seconds back from him. He's being caught by Bob Fitzgerald. So the two of them obviously will run quicker than Cole, and that'll bring them up to him and kind of turn that into a 3-truck trio. And then you have these guys here, Mark Cohn, Dean Wilkinson, Gary Halfines. Again, we mentioned the pit stop penalties for those 3. They've been able to get locked on together here as well. So again, that's going to minimize the time loss to our leaders, as right now Mark ran a 49.93 to the leaders 49.21, so not quite a second slower, but I mean it's a fair chunk. However, now that the 3 of them are together, we're going to see much quicker lap times. Not this time around, but the next time around, they'll be able to start to minimize that time loss. So that's where that's going to come into play, and you can see there they are. So really the goal for these guys here is stay aggressive to try to see if you can keep the leaders out of your draft, because that's going to be the biggest issue. As last time they were about a second a lap quicker. It was a 49.07 to a 49.99, so just under that number. But you can see, though, here they come out of 2, and then here come the leaders there in that train. So right now, numbers-wise, leaders are by far the quickest trucks on track. Again, though, makes sense. They have the numbers. Although, like I said, I got to give my commends right now, because I'm watching that second pack, and it's not for lack of effort. They are pushing hard right now, about a half a second slower last time around. So again, they gotta kind of manage their temps, and it's tough with just the 3. They really could use that 4th truck to help kind of give the other ones a break with the temperature side of things. But now it does give us an opportunity to show off our trucks and their drivers, as right now our race leader is that 24 of Everett Lane. He started in that 4th position, up 3 spots into the lead. Behind him, started on pole, running in 2nd, led pretty much that whole first stint of the race. That is Gabe Butler in that 88 Guinness machine. And then back on track and not showing any signs of rust right now is that 071 of Eric Laurie, up 2 spots into 3rd. And we talked about the pit stop situation, how quick they were in and out of pit road. Jack Walls there in that 83 truck right now sits in 4th, up 5 positions. And then a little bit of I wouldn't say aggression, but I think that 57 is trying to find his way up the running order here. He's going to slide back in now because it was actually pulling him away. I think the side draft there. But Justin Davis, he's up 7 spots into that top 5 in his number 10 Ram. And then Bud Steele, again, also one of those quick pit stop drivers there in the 9-second bracket in pit lane. He sits right now in that 6th position, up 5 spots. Then we'll drop back to the 2nd pack. Hayden Davis, the birthday boy, sits in 7th position, up 7 spots right now in that number 19 truck. Actually ran a pretty much identical lap to the leaders at last time by, so that's a really good sign for that trio. Behind him is Robert Rock of the TW Motorsports Group. Right now, Robert up 5 spots into P8. Brandon Briggs there in that 1 truck, up 7 spots into 9th. You can see if you got some advertising dollars there, he's got some spots on the side and on the deck lid, and he wants you to push him. I had a kick out of that when I was racing with him a few weeks back, and so it honestly kind of enticed me. It's like, you know what, I am going to push you, and so I was able to hop on the back of him and try to help him as best I could, but I don't quite have the talent that these guys seem to. So that is Brandon in 9th, and then we get to the last truck in the top 10. That is Brian Bussard in that 27 truck, and like we mentioned, those guys now have caught him there, Bob Fitzgerald and Cole Cannon. Right now, Brian, the last truck in the top 10, up 5 where he started. Bob Fitzgerald, though, is down 1 spot to 11th from 10th. But again, though, importantly, though, with the draft, so that is the key for him, is he's still in a big pack here to be able to minimize that time loss. Cole Cannon, same thing for him in that 801. Right now, rolling 12th. And just, yeah, like I said, just these guys need a break at this point to get back into it. Then we drop back to those trucks that are right at the tail end of the lead lap. Mark Cohn, the first of those in that number 39 Dodge. I say the lovely Sim Gaming Expo. I apologize. I know he will be attending that. A few others that I'm familiar with as well. So saw some pictures and videos last time. Looked like an amazing time. So looking forward to seeing them kind of show that off here again in a few months' time. Dean Wilkinson was the outside front row. Unfortunately, he's dropped back now due to that pit penalty as well into 14th. And then Gary Huffines, last truck on the lead lap, sits in the 15th spot in that number 18. And then we get to that first truck one down, the only truck one down, and that's Josh Purcell. And again, you can see he really wants to, I think, get some track position. It keeps peeking up to the top side here. But right now, honestly, if I'm Josh here, it's not worth that aggression right now for him, because he really should just be kind of sitting in the draft. As much as it sucks, sit in the draft, save some fuel, because again, it's just going to make your pit stop that much quicker and have a chance to either maybe jump them during the pit stop cycle, or just a better chance to make sure you don't lose that draft. So but right now, the lap time wise, though, once again, it is starting to go the right way for Everett Lane. They were about a half a second quicker than Hayden Davis and Robert Rock and Brandon Briggs. You see, it looks like they're about to swap drivers here once more. And I'm wondering if our leaders, are they just starting to maybe get into that draft window here of Mark Cohn, Dean Wilkinson, and Gary Huffines? That could be why we're seeing some lap time pickup, as they were just under about a half second quicker. As a 49.24 for Everett Lane to a 49.69 for Mark Cohn. So yeah, so right now lap time's definitely going the right way for them. And again, mentioned pit stops around 20 and 21 for the field. So probably another 7 or so laps on the pit stop side of things before these guys come back in here. And so yeah, right now, like I said, the guys up front, they really don't want to rock the boat. And again, Jack Walls, Bud Steele, and Justin Davis, I think their job right now is they just save as much fuel as they can. If they can do the same thing they did last time, take a little less fuel in the boot knockers, I think that's going to really be an important thing for them. Again, maybe jumping during the pit cycle, or worst case scenario, if there's a small hiccup, at least gets you right with them afterwards. So we'll keep an eye on that one for sure on that side of things. I think they want to go in with them, just again, that way you have the numbers, no risk of a potential. But there is always slightly smaller group coming in road, guys. And again, though, you can see Josh Purcell, he does not want to sit and ride. He wants to go. And again, though, you can see with the side Bud Steele that's pulled Bud away from him. Now Bud's going to kind of, I think, same thing, get a little bit of side draft there. But that's going to, same thing, it's going to burn more fuel, and it gets these guys a little nervous, a little stressed about that. And yeah, you can see Bud, they're drifting up just a teeny bit here. And so, yeah, so Bud's got to be careful not to get too flustered. But again, I mean, you can see it's a couple tenths of a second he loses every time that's happening. So that's where that concern is and that frustration can come, because it's like, hey, you're going to pull me out of the draft if that happens. And so, and that's just the way side draft works is it kind of packs air in the spoiler, slows that truck down, and that's kind of, yeah, what it does. So, but yes, like I said, the leaders, they just want to kind of keep things nice and calm and try to see if they can settle amongst themselves. Usually where things happen is where you get these trucks that are in a smaller pack that are outside the main pack, and what they're going to be doing here is they're just going to be pushing for all they're worth, and they're going to take some extra risks. They're going to push harder, push longer. It might be somebody that pushes just gets a little bit too hot and winds up popping the motor of the truck, and the guy behind him gets into them. And just little things like that, and that's the same thing you'd see, like I said, potentially with these guys. It's just, yeah, you get, I don't even say desperate, you try to do something to, all right, how can I kind of limit the loss a little bit? And especially like these guys right now, they're just going to be doing everything they can because they do not want to go a lap down, because then they have to fight the three of them and add Josh Purcell to that mix. And it's just going to be, again, that kind of that race within a race where you're going to have the lucky dog battle, but at the same time, you're also going to have that race for the lead and for the potential win of this race. So I do feel like Everett Lane is probably just about in that draft window, and say, let's hop on board and see what he sees. And yeah, I mean, he's seeing that group in front getting slightly bigger lap by lap. Although last time by, I gotta say, shout out to Dean, Mark, and Gary. They were actually a tenth of a second quicker last time by. It was a 28 for Mark to a 38 for Everett. So you can see Dean is trying. He says, all right, I'm going to push real hard to see if we can get you away from these guys, not give them the draft. So yeah, you can see they're definitely doing all they can. And Josh Purcell just, he does not want to be this last truck in the main pack, but right now he's still kind of trapped in that position in that 57. So yeah, probably in about the next 3 or so laps, we'll probably start to see some trucks hit pit road. What we can do, though, is I believe we have some fun other cameras, and we can show off these guys. I do need to give a big thank you to Whiplash SimCams, because I got lots of buttons and cameras and angles to play with. So I definitely a big thank you to him. So we'll let these guys roll by here, see them at speed, and then you'll get to hear from me, unfortunately, still in just a moment. Coming up to lap number 40. Again, last time they went one more lap, and then they hit pit road. And this is going to be an interesting decision now. If they can get to this pack here right as pit road's as they get to this pack in front, it does give an opportunity again for the boot knockers here, where they say, hey, if we pit right now, we could get actually all 5 of us back in line again, because again, they have Mark Cohn, they have Gary Huffines on their team. So I'm going to watch and see, do we see that 39 and the 18? Do they maybe come in here this time around and it brings the 88, the 24, and the 071 along with them? So yeah, and because you can see Everett's kind of rolling out of it. He said, yep, all right, let me back it down here. So let's watch here. I'm going to be focused on Mark and see if they're going to make a late entry. And no, actually, it's going to be a different call here. It's going to be Bud Steele, Jack Walls coming in together. A little bit of a contact there, but it's 16 to 57. It looks like they should get away with it. But now, since it's just 3 of those guys, they need to make sure they get in and out together as organized as possible. Because again, the less trucks you have, the little slightly more difficult it's going to be. Oh, Bud Steele there. Oh, he's missed his pit box. He's going to have to reverse and tut, and that's the concern, is Bud is going to be in a bad way right here because he's going to be completely off. As you can see, he's barely hit his pit stall. Jack's rolling now, and there's really nothing Jack can do now. He's going to maybe hope to be able to get Josh Purcell. But yeah, so now, and again, though, you don't know who's able to keep an eye on what, but if these guys are able to see, hey, those guys had a bad pit stop, we're going to go a little further, maybe try to split them up a little bit. But here you go, have a chunk of them coming in now. Dean Wilkinson there, Everett Lane, Eric Laurie, Gabe Butler, as well as Justin Davis. I did see Mark Cohn, Gary Huffines. They're going to go one more here. Again, the slight concern with it just being 2 of them. So what right now they got to do is they got to basically just be as aggressive as they can. So Gary's just got to push like there's no tomorrow. They'll steal a little bit of draft off of Bud Steele here as well, and that'll help that situation a little bit too. As you can see, he's going to hold the bottom, let them roll around top as he's still building up speed in that number 6 truck after that unfortunate just overshooting his pit stall there. And then also the trucks that have yet to pit up front are these guys here with Hayden Davis and Brandon Briggs. They're just running this thing along, probably in the next few laps. So then we got to see how the field is going to cycle out here. As you can see, there come Dean Wilkinson there, Everett Lane, right all together, Gabe Butler, Eric Laurie. I think they should be pretty safe together. I feel like Justin Davis as well. And so this is the concern for those guys, is Jack Walls and Josh Purcell. Can they get back to those guys? And at the moment, I don't think it's going to happen. I don't think they have the momentum or the numbers to do so. So we may have turned that group of trucks up front now down to possibly 4. And it's going to be right now at the moment, it'd be three of the boot knockers plus one of the underdogs with Justin Davis. So yeah, right now, because again, Dean's leading this pack, but he's the first truck one down. However, this can open up some strategy too, is to see how Mark Cohn, Gary Huffines, how they get in and out of pit road here. Because if they can hold on to this draft, this would be a big break for them. Because again, right now, Dean's tail end of the lead lap. And so that would allow Mark or Gary to be the first truck one down, which will then be the fight as well with Josh Purcell. You can see immediately they jump top here. They're going to try to get that draft. And Gabe's actually going to jump low here. He's going to try to put Dean one down. And so now that actually is going to almost be, I'm going to say, kind of a detriment to their teammates, because now Dean's the first truck one down. And that's going to now put Mark Cohn and Gary Huffines actually now being trapped where they wouldn't get the lucky dog. And so what's really crucial right now is this is an opportunity right now for Jack Walls here, is they can push themselves up to those 2 trucks. That could give them a 4-truck draft, and that could match this pack up here. But yeah, so right now the top 4 though of this group though are those 3 boot knockers there with the 88, 24, 071, and then Justin Davis right now the lone competitor for the potential race win. Again though, still one more pit stop to go. And of course, Dean Wilkinson currently sitting as the first truck one down in that 55. But so now if I'm Justin Davis here, I am not moving. I'm going to say, you know what? I'm going to save fuel. I'm going to sit behind Eric Laurie, and I'm just going to basically sit and ride. And when they pit, I'm coming in right with them, because I cannot take the risk of having to maybe make a pit stop by myself. So right now, it's kind of one of those ones where it's you versus the world, it feels like. And so yeah, so Justin's gonna have to make a tough decision at some point of what to do. Things continue. Just needs to be clean, no mistakes, and then see where things cycle out at the end. But that puts the 88 now back in front. And last time by, they ran a 49.08. Then we'll go to Jack Walls. He ran a 50.34, so over a second slower than them. And then we jump back to that group with the 39 and the 19 and the 18. Sorry, it was a 49.68. So they're quicker than those two in front. So they're starting to steal some draft. And like I said, that could turn that group. Oh, I'm sorry, I have it backwards there. It's 49.68 in front of them. Now a 50.25. It was a 50.04 for Jack Wall. So they're close. They just need to get a little tighter just to try to pick up that draft off those guys in front. As right now, I think it's about a 2-second gap from Josh Purcell to Gary Huffine. So they haven't quite sniffed that draft yet. But number-wise, though, I mean, it's these guys right here that are just unfortunate for the other guys, just kind of run away a little bit. So, however, let's not ignore the rest of the field. We do have a slightly bigger group here, which is a good opportunity for them. Same thing, try to make up some time, and also just minimize any time loss. And that's going to be Hayden Davis, Brandon Briggs, Robert Rock, Bud Steele. And again, though, and to show how much of a hit for Bud Steele that miscue took, pit lane time for Jack Walls, who was, when he pitted, was 39.98. Bud Steele's 49.12, so 10 seconds pretty much on the dot longer on pit road just because of that overshooting the pit stall and having to try to chase it back. So that's why these guys really do a lot of times practice pit road, really try to dial in their brake bias to make sure, okay, I don't want to be locking my fronts up a ton and just sliding, but I also have to make sure it's not too much rear bias, because then the back of the truck's just going to spin around and spin out and ruin my race that way. So right now, that's where those foursome are, sitting from 6th place to 9th. Then we get to just in the top 10 is Cole Cannon. He's got Brian Bussard and Bob Fitzgerald still with them. So again, 3 trucks, that is definitely what they need. Again, kind of minimize that time loss. So right now, everybody's got at least a partner. It looks like there's 2 groups of 2 trucks, and then everybody else is 3 or more. And again, I'm watching lap times, and Jack Walls is just, it hasn't gone the right way. I think Josh Purcell probably trying to manage that time, manage the temperatures of his truck, and so that's just prevented him from being able to pull up into Mark Cohn and Gary Huffine. So like I said, I think that's job number 1 for them, is if they can get there, that'll help that speed out, because right now, actually, this group being led by Hayden Davis, they are closing, and it was about 0.7 of a second last time, but it was a 50.29 for Jack, 49.56 for Hayden. So this group of 4 right now is doing a great job there as well. So yes, like we mentioned, everybody's been sitting right around that 20-21 lap mark on pit road. So based on that, last pit stop window opens in about 7 laps time. However, again, though, they can go all the way to about lap 60. So there's probably about a 5-lap window that these guys could come in and make their final stop. And then it puts the decision on how much gamble do you want to take? Do you want to pit just enough to get to the lap 75 mark? Do you think there could be that late green light checker caution that makes the race go beyond the 75 lap distance? And so it's a gamble, because the less fuel you put in, the quicker you're going to get in and out. And like I mentioned, if you can avoid having to plug that second cannon, that really opens up the strategy as well. So that's going to be some of the call that these guys are going to have to make is, okay, when do we pit and what do we want to do here? Can we get away with doing a short pit and be able to just take that bare minimum fuel and avoid having to kind of plug that second cannon? So yeah, that's going to be a big thing we watch for the top 3. Like I said, the one that's going to be pretty much perfect on the cycle is Justin Davis, because again, he's got nobody on the teammate side with him. I do feel like Dean Wilkinson will say, hey, after the pit stops, if I'm still with you, you want to make a move, I'll go with you. I could definitely see Dean trying to work with him and try, like I said, kind of spoil the boot knocker party up front here. So we'll see if that comes to play or not. But again, first these guys got to nail their pit stops and see how it all shakes out. But yeah, lap time wise though, we'll see what Jack Walls runs this time around. It was a 50.10 last time. This time it is a 50.4, and Mark Cohn was a 50.05. So again, they're losing to the guys up in front. And then Hayden Davis was a 49.66. So again, 0.8 of a second. So yeah, so right now Hayden is liking what he's seeing right now. He says, hey, we're catching those guys. Let's just keep doing what we're doing. You can see it's like, hey, we can see them. We're on the same straightaway as them. And again, we have the numbers. We can chase these guys down. So that's going to be the goal for these guys, is they're going to push as far as they can. The question mark will be, these guys probably need to be in communication with their kind of the competition, if you will, where I think they say, hey, Robert Rock, Bud Steele, when do you guys want to pair? When do you have to pit? Because Bud Steele pit on lap 40, Robert Rock 41, Brandon and Hayden were on lap 42. So they have a little more fuel, but they're also pushing. So that fuel window or advantage may actually kind of wash after it's all said and done. So, and again, about an over half-second advantage there to the 19 to the 83 of Jack Walls was a 50.09, whereas Mark Cohn was a 50.11. So pretty much right on top of each other. You can see those three all staggered just about evenly there. So, and up front, you can see no real changes with these guys. So before we get to that final potential pit stop, we can once again show off our wonderful drivers and their paint schemes and their helmets if they have them. And that is Gabe Butler starting from pole, now back to the lead after that second set of stops. His teammate Everett Lane up 2 spots right behind him in second. And then again, Eric Laurie back in action. Glad to see him back on track. He sits in third, also up 2 spots. And right now, Justin Davis, he's up 8 spots in that number 10 truck, sitting in the 4th position. And then we'll go in line there. Dean Wilkinson currently sits as the first truck, 1 down in that 55. Started in second, unfortunately down to 13th with that pit speeding penalty. Then we drop back to Jack Walls as he sits in the 5th position. But again, as you can see, over 11 seconds off our leaders. And then we get to the second truck, 1 down. And actually, no, second truck, 1 down. And that is Josh Purcell in that 57 truck. Again, right now, Dean, the first of those. Then we get to that group of the 4 trucks. That is going to be Hayden Davis leading that second pack. He's up 8 spots in the 19 truck. And big happy birthday to Hayden. Behind him, Brendan Briggs in the 1 truck, up 9 spots. Teammates to him on the Underdogs Racing team. Robert Rock up 5 spots in that 171 machine as he sits in 8th. Bud Steele right now is in 9th after that pit miscue there. That puts him +2 where he started, but again, unfortunately, out of that main pack where he was prior to that pit stop. Now we have to go back 17 positions now, unfortunately. Sorry, 17 seconds, I apologize, back. That's going to pick up Cole Cannon in that 801 truck as he's got Brian Bussard with him in the 11th spot, up 4 spots. And then Bob Fitzgerald here. You see, looks like these guys trying to reorganize a little bit as Bob right now sits in 12th, also tail end of the lead lap right now. So that's the last truck on the lead lap at the moment. And then we get to, didn't quite go in order. So in between Dean and Josh Purcell on the Lucky Duck side of things will be the 39 of Mark Cohn, who sits 14th, -8 from where he started, unfortunately. And then same thing for Gary Hupfines, -8 in that 18 truck for he qualified. And right now you can see that group with Mark Cohn and Gary Hupfines. Gary Hupfines. They're trying to keep Jack Walls, I believe, away. But then in the same time, though, it's actually been Hayden Davis and Brandon Briggs and company chasing those guys back down. So that is feel we still have all 16 trucks on track, and we are just getting the 20 to go. So window is open from here. Like I said, now it's just when do you pit? What do you do? If you're up front, you know you can pit. You won't lose a lap, anything like that. But maybe you say, you know what? Hey, we've got the rest of the field in a tough spot here. Let's run this thing as far as we can go just in case. And then if you're these guys that are maybe either 1 lap down or tail end of the lead lap, you say, hey, if they pit early, let's go long, because then that'll, even though we'll have to pit under yellow, we'll still make sure we don't drop a lap down. So it's kind of that strategy call of what you want to do here. But like I said, now this is where if I'm Justin Davis, though, you are just sitting and waiting and watching these guys saying, okay, what are they going to do? Where are they going to go? And you got to make sure everything is set correctly. Okay, am I taking fuel only? Am I taking left side tires? What's the strategy here that's going to keep me with these guys? And again, though, based on the pit stop times, I think left side tires and fuel is going to be the way to go. Again, he's hopefully saved some fuel in that 10 truck as well. So it should be a slightly shorter stop. Gabe and Everett have definitely been burning the most. So I think that could go to the advantage of that 10 truck. But like I said, for Justin, needs to get a clean entry, needs to hit his pit stall, and then make sure he's got everything set correctly. So, and that's, like I said, that's right now what he's got to do. That's his job one for that. And again, though, I mean, it's also up to the boot knockers. They can't make any mistakes themselves, but right now it looks like they said, yep, let's go a little longer here before we hit pit road. So we'll have to see if Dean might be even have to pit before them, as he pit on lap 40. Gabe was on 41. So Dean did lead a chunk of that restart, or sorry, after the pit stop, he led this group for a chunk of time too. So there's a potential for Dean too, where he might be sweating a little bit and saying, hey, I got to make sure I have the fuel. But unfortunately, though, the first to hit pit road here is going to be Bud Steele. And so that's really going to hurt that pack there that was in that group with him and slow that group down a little bit, which I believe was Josh Purcell. Yeah, and see Josh rolling solo now. And maybe he's going to get picked up by those guys. We'll have to wait and see. We're going to jump up right. Here you go. Here comes the lead pack. That is our pit stop. That's everybody in together. And you can see everybody's, oh, Gabe, big slide, big lock up. Hopefully got down to speed in time. We'll wait and see on that one. But I'm going to say job so far so good for the top three. They all stay pretty close contention. And you can see Justin Davis now, just make sure you hit your pit stall. Don't overshoot it. That looked nice and perfect, and it looks like going to be fuel only, not risking the left side tire. Said, I want this to be as short as I can. And there you go. He's down and away. 9.78 seconds for him. Gabe and company, they were in the 8-second range. But now, one thing I didn't mention, it was really close right there, is they got to stay under that yellow line. And so with no tires, these trucks are going to be a little sketchy. But like I said, though, for Justin Davis, he's got a chance at this now. He's got one of their teammates behind him, and so that's going to be a tough decision for Everett and Gabe is, hey, do we want to pick up our teammate, or do we want to see if we can break them and run away with this? So right now, Eric Laurie, his job is going to be to get to the back of this truck in front and push, as right now we'll jump over to Everett Lane. You can see he's pretty much right onto Gabe as well. So these guys are just about to get lined up here. And the drivers that are opting to go long, like we mentioned, will be Hayden Davis, Brandon Briggs, Robert Rock. They said, yep, let's run this thing a little longer here. And the other interesting part in all this is this group here, well, actually, I say here they come on pit road all together. I thought they'd steal some draft here. They got to get it wind down. Oh, that may be a little bit too hot. We'll have to wait and see. Some of those looked a little aggressive to me. And the other thing I do want to mention is the truck that we lost out of that main group. We had talked about it was Dean Wilkinson. He had a 10.8 second pit stop, which is a good stop, but the problem was everybody else was in the 8 to 9 second bracket, and so I think that's what separated those guys. So, well, like I said, this is that fuel saving strategy that those guys were able to do with Dean having to pit that lap earlier and leading for a chunk of time. It just maybe put that out of range. So right now, though, the 88 and the 24, it's been holding at about that 1.2 second margin. It's starting to just click a little closer now. Like I said, Eric Laurie, what he wants to do now is this is all he's going to see. He's going to see red, and he's going to see a white spoiler, and nothing stops Ram. And so Eric right now, his job is to push for all he's worth. Wants to get them up to Gabe and Everett. That way it gives them a chance to go for the win. I still see a little separation. We'll hop on board with Everett Lane here. And you see there is some separation there. Everett not locked on to Gabe. So at the moment, advantage is going to go to these guys. But again, though, right now, he's got to make sure he doesn't overshoot his engine. And so now Justin did everything right. He got in, got out. It looks like he's going to tie in with the main pack here. Now he's going to be in a tough spot because he's going to have a teammate. He's going to have a driver behind him, teammates of the two trucks in front of him. And so, yeah, so he's going to kind of be between a rock and a hard place. Doesn't really have any options to make a move at this point. And so we'll have to wait and see. Again, there's still 14 to go here at the line. Do need to mention Hayden Davis, Brandon Briggs, Robert Rock. They have yet to make their final pit stop. Same thing for Mark Cohn, Gary Huffines. They said, hey, let's run this long. If there's maybe an untimely yellow, that could get us in position. But they said we can't go any further. Here we come. And it's actually going to be all of them together here. And so this is good. This could actually turn this the two trucks there, three trucks here, into a full 5-truck pack, which would really help the lap times. So we'll have to wait and see again. Now, next job, again, for all these guys, got to make sure you hit your stalls nice and clean. Nice there for Brennan. Perfect there for those two as well. and it looks nice and clean as well for these guys here. So now it's just going to be how long of a pit stop as you have, and there you go. That's about perfect there. That 18 and 39, they come out right together. And then, yeah, a little bit too much greedy on the throttle there for the 18 truck. Now he's got to get it situated, get back in line here, but he's got to figure out where can I slot in here, and it's going to probably have to be right here in front of that 19 of Hayden Davis. And no, he's going to actually, I think he lost that momentum. He said, I don't want to slow up Hayden, so I think opting to give a little bit of space there, which is going to cost him that pack, unfortunately. Oh, well, Brandon Briggs, actually, he spins on the pit entry. Caution is out. That is going to change this entire race complexion. Just after the pit stop cycles, everybody had made their pit stop there, and so this is going to change everything. And I bet if we go and look, Brandon most likely went ahead and took no tires. Again, we talked about this pit road. It's sketchy getting on the apron there, and so that's going to throw yellow into this, and we are about to have a 4-truck battle for the win. Jump to at least 10. I believe Dean's going to get the wave around here, get back on that lead lap as well. And so, yeah, so I think we're going to have 11 trucks vying for the win. But let's go back. We're going to do two things here. I want to check on Brandon Briggs here on his pit entry here. So I want to see, does he take tires in this one truck? That'll be a big telltale right now. And you can see, comes in, and yeah, no tires. So this is when the truck is definitely at its sketchiest, is because you've got just worn tires, and then you're coming in, there's marbles on the apron there, because again, where there's no action, the marbles build up, and so that truck's gonna have a lot less. And you can see it right there, the 18 truck, he gets loose, and it's the same thing, just no traction, fuel only. And so now Brandon's just trying to get everything he can here. And we'll probably see here is, yeah, you can see it stepping out, tries to catch it here and has it for a second. And then, yeah, right there, starts to step out. He tries to correct it, almost catches Robert Rock, and then up and around that truck goes. And then you see also just sneaks by as the 18. And you can see there also the thing that's also really good for what he did there is he locks it down. Don't try to roll away from it right away, because people are going to react to the truck where it is, not where it might go. And so, yeah, so unfortunate for Brandon, but like I said, it's actually a big break for those guys. And honestly, it kind of is a net gain for Brandon too, because he gets back in the main pack here. But like I said, though, the winner on this one of those is going to be Dean Wilkinson. He's going to hustle around here, get back on the lead lap in that 55 truck. So that's going to put us 11 trucks on the lead lap, which will now leave that lucky dog battle, I believe, to Mark Cohn in the 39. And then I believe all these guys that are on pit road should be also in the same spot, just the one down of Josh Purcell, Cole Cannon, Gary Huffines, and Bob Fitzgerald. And then looks like of the leaders, nobody pitted there. Brian Bussard, though, actually I should say Brian Bussard and Brandon Briggs, they did come in here. They're going to take 4. And again, I mean, now they have no fuel drama for green-white checkers. They have fresher tires as well. And so Gabe, I mean, look at this. This tells me everything right now is there's fuel concern. These guys are on the apron. I think they said, we're going to go to lap 75 and that's it. And they're going to be tight, I have a feeling, is what we're seeing here. So we'll step away. We got a quick break and we'll be back on the one to go. Stay tuned.
40 Racewear, makers of the ultimate sim racing shoes and custom apparel designed for sim racing by sim racers. 40 racing shoes are engineered to connect racers to the pedals in a way no other racing shoe can, all the while giving you the comfort needed to complete those double and triple stints. Visit 40racewear.com and check out the latest sim racing products that let you connect to your sim.
All right, lights are off of the pace car. Everybody's lining back up 2 by 2. And so now it's going to open up some more opportunities, some more helpers, some more drafters. And yeah, this is where things are going to get quite interesting here for what the plan's going to be. Where do you find your friends? Teammates line up side by side there at the 88 and the 24. Then you got the third teammate of those guys in the front pack, the top 3. They are, so say if Gabe can get to the top, we saw how good they were up on that top lane, so that could be an option for him to pull. Then we start to roll a little further back. So again, Justin Davis, he sits in third. He's got the inside lane. So if Gabe goes top, that gives him that inside lane to himself. Right now he's got Robert Rock behind him. Robert, a great pusher. However, not too far back is cousin Hayden Davis on that top row. So if they can get lined up, there could be some opportunities there. And then you look at Bud Steele, Jack Walls, teammates on the Roswell side of things. They can also same the opportunities for them to get lined up here. Brian Bustard, he is the kind of the I don't know. I'm losing words tonight. But he's kind of the one we don't know. I'll say he's the unknown because doesn't have any team affiliations, rolling solo on the Discord. Like I said, he'd be a good asset for one of these teams to pick up. Say be able to kind of meet a new driver, BS with him, have some fun. And then Brandon Briggs, as I mentioned, he is still in the lead lap as well, so he could try to help the 10 and the 19. And Dean Wilkinson back in the lead, or sorry, on the lead lap, I should say, in that 55. But either way, though, we got to get back this race back underway as it's going to hand it over to Gabe and Everett. Gabe is the control truck once we get in that restart zone. And we are underway here with 10 to go, 9 at the line. As Gabe Butler gets a huge head of steam here, a huge jump there, and he is going to jump top, pick up his teammate. So now we'll see, can the other guys get organized here? Because right now this is kind of when those guys could be the most vulnerable as the pace picks up. But you see Robert Rock, actually, he's going to jump top there in that 171. So right now, unfortunately, that 10 truck here kind of rolling solo for Justin Davis. Doesn't have any love yet. It looks like Jack Walls might be the first to get to him. Nope, Jack's going to jump top. And man, Justin Davis thinking, what did I do wrong on this restart here? As the whole field here has jumped to the top. As now Brandon Briggs, I was saying, Brandon's never one to sit in line. He says, yeah, I'm going. Let's do this thing. Let me get you some momentum here. And then Hayden Davis saw Bud Steele come with the head of steam. Hayden said, yep, it's my birthday. Why don't you give me a push here? I say what he needs to do is have it's my birthday on the back of that truck somewhere so that way they can extra incentive maybe. But right now, like I said, we'll see those top 3 will stay committed to one another. Robert Rock, Jack Walls at the moment, those are the first ones that can pull something off here, try and make a move later on in this race. Again, still plenty of time to make that move to try to see when's the right place and the right time to do so. And right now, though, like I said, Gabe Butler, Everett Lane, I mean, they are glued to each other. So the question mark will be is it's not the if, it's the when, and then the who is the other question, is which driver is going to make that move. So at the moment, like I said, it's going to be Hayden Davis leading the inside lane for the moment. And they're getting a good head of steam here. And that's, again, when does somebody say, all right, I see the momentum shifting. I want to get to that bottom lane. And right now it looks like I think the boot knockers say, hey, if you're going to beat us, you're going to beat us on that inside lane. We're not going to give you the top here. And so, yeah, I was wondering if we might see a Jack Walls or a Robert Rock try to jump to the top side or to the bottom side there. But they stay in that top lane there, the 4th and 5th truck in line. They see Bud Steele here just giving that 19 all the pushing he can handle right now. But again, though, Bud's got to be careful. Keep that temperature in check here because that's always the danger zone in these things is you get locked on for so long. And I think that's the separation we're seeing now is that that 6 truck just getting a little too toasty. But the same goes for Everett Lane on 24. He's going to want to try to keep Gabe out front, but he's got to make sure he doesn't get that truck too hot and pushing. So, and you got to kind of time it to be at the right point at the right time to make those big pushes because you really want to save the pushing for when they get to you. So kind of keep the temps alive and say, okay, they're here, they're right at us. All right, let me lock on and give you that big shove. So we're 6 to go here at the line. And you can see right now that Hayden has gotten to the 3rd position based on where he is at the track. He's been bouncing between 2nd and 3rd there. So like I said, just it's that ebb and flow that we always see in these play races. So right now, though, like I mentioned, though, we still have 11 trucks vying for the win of this race. The battle for the lucky dog is still a big one, too, as right now it's the 18 of Gary Huffines has it at the moment. Mark Cohn for competition, he is right next to him though. So again, whichever lane it has the advantage, it could switch based on that. So if there's a yellow, step one is not to get involved in the incident. And then, of course, after that is to try to be that first one. So as we're down to 5 to go here, though, I saw Dean roll out of it. He's maybe thinking he's going to see something here. So he wants to keep that 55 truck nice and clean. Again, you see Everett there. Now they built a little bit of a gap. So he said, all right, let me get some temperature back in my truck. That way I can lock right back on in that 24 once it's time. So Everett managing the temperatures very well in that 24 truck. And again, we always talk about that third truck, crucial to the momentum. Eric Lorry's done an amazing job staying right on the tail of that 24 as well. As you can see, just a little separation from the 10 to the 6. But again, though, we still got a few laps to go. So I think once it's really time to go, then we'll start to see those pushes coming a little more aggressive. And probably the third truck line kind of trying to help boost that the second truck as well. Oh, Bud Steele, aggressive jump to the inside here. He is going to come on the pit road with a full tilt of steam here. And he's going to make his pit stall. Did that 6 truck possibly blow up here? Or did maybe something happen here that he had to jump in for? So hopefully everything okay for Bud. But yeah, I don't know if that was maybe just got that truck overheated and had to jump down. So yeah, I'll keep an eye and see if I see anything. But yeah, didn't see that coming. But the underdogs lined up now on the inside lane, the 19, the 10, and the 1. This is exactly what you can see. Gabe saw the momentum shift, said, all right, let's not run the top side. Let's start to drift down a little bit here, steal some side draft. And again, that's what we talked about. Pack some air on the side of those trucks, slows them down a little bit, slows the momentum down. And then eventually, like I said, these guys, they get greedy. It's like Daytona's a little narrow. You can fit a third truck in line, though. So we'll have to wait and see on that one. But I do believe Bud has retired. So, yeah, hope everything's okay for you, Bud. I'll definitely check in with you after the race. But right now, though, we are down to 3 to go. And again, they got to get to the white flag before it's official, and then they can race to the checkered. If there's to be a caution that comes out before the white, at that point, we would rack them up and have 2 attempts of that green-white checkered. And on that final attempt, if there was a yellow before the white, at that point, the race would be frozen at the time of yellow. So right now, again, you can see, though, the 88 separated from the 24 because they built a little gap on that 19 and the 10. And so they're able to kind of breathe a little bit. I think Everett, again, building temperature back in that truck, trying to get it cooled off. That way, once it's time to make another charge here, he can be ready for it. So right now, like I said, they're doing what they need to do. We are 2 to go here. And then the other driver we got to watch right now is Robert Rock. He's just tantalizing and close to clearing the 19. If he gets that right run at the right time, does he jump in front of Hayden and try to see if he can get that boost from the inside lane for Hayden Davis to try to get this win? And then same thing, if we see someone try to make the middle happen or where they want to try to push these trucks, I could see Jack going along with them as well. And like we mentioned as well, Brian Bussard, he is still a kind of just the question mark for where he could go, who he wants to work with. And so here you go, though. This is going to be coming to the white. I see the 10 laying off the 19 a little bit, trying to build some temperature back. And now at this point, now white flag's out. It is official to the end. Now you don't even look at your gauges. You lock on, you push as hard as you can, a little bit off center there for the inside lane. Is that the opportunity for that outside lane for the 171 to make a move? Answer is not yet. So we're going to continue to watch Hayden Davis here starting to make a little charge. There's the big pushes from the 10 and the 1. And now Gabe and Everett are going to have to watch their mirrors and see, do they need to side draft? Do they need to do anything different? Because right now they've been able to kind of hold steady at about that 4th or 5th position. But again, though, Everett, Gabe, and Eric Laurie, they got to keep things perfect. And again, Robert Rock, he can still play spoiler. Right now, it looks like the top 3 are safe. There you go. Robert Rock said, okay, I see the momentum shifting. Let me get down here, see if I can steal a 3rd place finish here off of Eric Laurie. And it is going to be tight between the 2 of them. Right now, Gabe's going to clearly get the win. It's going to go to Everett Lane, and Robert Rock will grab that 3rd position from that late move to the bottom. So great call there at the end to grab that podium spot for him in that 171. Spoils the podium lockout for the boot knockers, but again, a great job by them. And man, I got to give a shout out, though, the underdogs. They gave everything there. They pulled the strategy. Didn't quite work out, but you could see, I mean, there was no giving up there. They tried to do everything they could. But it's going to be this man here. He had a couple of fourth place finishes. Like I said, he wanted to talk to me, so he made sure he got it done in style here. And that is that 88 of Gabe Butler getting the win. But let's roll back here. I'll say before we get to our drivers, let's go and pull up our final results. As you'll see over on the side is Gabe Butler over Everett Lane, Robert Rock, Eric Laurie there. And it was about 500ths of a second between those two for that final podium spot. And then Hayden Davis still does get a top 5, though. So, again, a great run for him. I know it's definitely a what could have been, but just, again, a great job by that team. And I'd say I feel like that's still a pretty good birthday present for that 19 truck. Jack Walls in 6, Justin Davis there, Brian Bussard, Brandon Briggs, Dean Wilkinson, our top 10 there, all on the lead lap. And then Josh Purcell 1 down in 11th. Same thing goes for Bob Fitzgerald, Gary Huffines, Mark Cohn, and Cole Cannon just weren't able to get those laps back. And like I said, Bud Steele there, unfortunately, had to make that abrupt exit. And hopefully everything is okay with Bud there. But a great job by those guys, though, all evening long. And yes, I mean, that's gets us finishing. See, Gabe, he's ready to celebrate. And he is going to waste no time doing so. He's had some practice doing this before. So while we keep an eye on him, let's first down because we're going to have to chat with some people. All right, we're going to run over to, first off, our third place finisher here. All right, there we go. Let's get it all sorted out here. We're going to grab our third place finisher, Robert Rock. Up 10 spots, Robert, to third. But the thing I noticed tonight was you kind of were cruise control. I feel like the beginning of the race where it didn't qualify and not really up front like I'm used to seeing you do these last couple of seasons over here. Were you feeling more mellow tonight, or was it just kind of, what was the strategy tonight to kind of lay low initially?
Yeah, I mean, that's pretty much how my luck's been going, getting penalties on pit road. So I figured I'm just going to start in the back, see how many points I could try to rack up and just see where I land. And then I got messed up on that pit stop where I pitted by myself, but those guys ended up catching back up and, we made a pretty good run back up, catch, front of the field somewhat. And then, that last pit stop, that was a little bit sketchy, but a lot of fun.
Yeah, and obviously the right call at the end there on the restart to be able to get to the top, and it was just, was that just a wait for the opening to make the move to the inside lane, try to get that final push? I mean, it's obviously worked out. You're able to grab third there at the end, but like, was it hard to resist the temptation to jump down earlier, or do you know coming out of 4 was going to be your best bet there?
Yeah, I figured that would have been my best bet, just to wait till the last minute and see if that bottom lane would get a run to push me up there. But yeah, I seen that opening up there, and I knew that was going to be the lane everybody was going to be going in. So while it was there, I took it.
Yeah, no, it was definitely the right call, the right opportunity there. So, I mean, like you said, I mean, it was obviously a lot of pit road miscues tonight. Caught a few drivers out on the entry, even the exit. Some drivers had some struggle. It seemed like just lack of grip, especially when they did fuel only stops. So, was that something you noticed too? Just like even on entry, but then also on exit, did it just seem like the grip getting on the brakes and back on the throttle exiting pits? Did it feel less than maybe usual that you're used to?
I was being a little more cautious, because of the issues I've been having getting on and off pit road at these other tracks, Talladega. I mean, I usually do pretty decent pitting there, but it's just been killing me. So this time I just thought I'd just take it easy and, just see what happens.
Well, I mean, in the end of it, you're able to, like I said, you made the right moves to get back to the front, and yeah, like I said, you're able to spoil the boot knockers there, get the podium lockout. So they might be mad at you a little bit, but so just a warning there. But I mean, a great job though, like I said, to be able to get back up into that podium spot though. So before we let you go though, as always, definitely got to give you the floor for any thanks and shout outs for that podium tonight, sir.
Yeah, I'll definitely thank you guys, Gael, everybody at Area 51, Green White Checker, um, all my teammates, of course. I gotta check and see where they all landed at, but yeah, it's been going pretty good. Nice season.
No, yeah, so far so good, and plenty of time to go. So, like I said, hopefully some of the bad luck's gone away, and this will be the first step moving forward for you, man. Looking forward to see what you got for them the rest of the way, sir.
Thanks, Gael. Appreciate all the drivers too. Good stuff.
All right, that is our third place finisher, Robert Rock. And so we got to jump one spot forward, and that is going to be to this Everett Lane fella. And as I say, so we'll grab Everett here real quick and say for Everett, it was kind of, you were running first, you were running second. Just seemed like it depended on which of you and Gabe got out in front of the other. And I mean, were you tired of seeing Guinness in the mirror or Guinness on the rear bumper there for you, or is that kind of a happy sight to have?
Well, it's kind of a happy sight to see. If you're doing that, you're doing things right. It's kind of what the mimicked last night at another place we were racing. Followed the back of him as much as I could, and did the same thing tonight. Yeah, got to lead some laps, but he beat me out of the pit, so it's all fair and square when it comes to that. He beat me out of the pit, so my job was to push the teammate to the win.
Yeah, and initially, I mean, it looks like things are obviously the late yellow is never what you want to see, but I mean, and of course, I'm sure obviously it's always fun to lock out the podium, but I mean, as a team, like, and I kind of commented like the OGs, if you will, of the boot knocker team, like to have all three of you nail the pit stops each time, and kind of you could see the other drivers kind of losing one by one. Or then it just got to the point where it was you and just you three, and then Justin Davis. I mean, was that one of those ones where it's like, okay, this is we're doing everything right here tonight?
Exactly right, Gael. We were hitting the pit stops, nailing them, coming in and going out. Had a nice big lead on the whole field, and then had that late race caution that kind of gathered everybody back up. But yeah, it's racing out here. Super speedway stuff, but yeah, we were checked out. Boot knockers were going to have a real good finish there. We still did have a good finish, kind of what it would have been anyway. 1, 2, and 4, because I think Eric was behind Justin at the moment there when that caution came out. But yeah, it was a good night for us. I enjoyed tonight's race, nice and clean.
Yeah, no, everybody did a really good job, and yeah, I mean, even the one yellow was just got loose on pit exit, and actually based on that too, a lot of drivers looked like they went fuel only at the end. And so did that, a lot of times everybody takes left sides. Did that, when you went fuel only at the end, did that feel at all the same to you, where it was maybe a fair bit sketchier than what you maybe would have thought with the lefts?
Nah, Gael, we were going left and fuel all night long. Every one of our green flag pit stops were lefts and fuel only. That way we can dig around that bottom down there in 1 and 2. If you don't get left side tires, you really got to feather it a lot easier than you would have to if you didn't get tires. I think probably that's what happened to Brandon there. He didn't get tires, and he got the wrath of the apron there without left side tires on him. So yeah, we took lefts and fuel all night long, and did well of exiting around the corner there.
Yeah, and I went back and looked, and yeah, I never saw the left side pop up, and I think it was the same pit stop Gary Huffines too. He tried to throttle up on that exit. And I think he was fuel only as well, and yeah, it about just looped him around on pit exit too, right out of the pit speed cone. So it was, yeah, I think like you said, lefts was probably the way to go, and I mean, you guys still had about 8.5 second pit stop, so it's not like it really slowed things down for you. So Yeah, I mean, like you said, perfectly executed race for you guys. No mistakes in and out of pit road. We're able to nail the restart too, to stay organized and try to make it kind of amongst yourselves there. So all around a great job to get the 1-2-4 like you said, which is pretty much where it was going to be if it had stayed green, unless Eric could have found a way to get around Justin there at the end. So great job there as a team, sir. And before we let you go, though, always got to give you the floor, though. Any thanks and shout outs you'd like to give?
I want to thank Gael for all the broadcasts and the great stuff that he does up there in the booth. Area 51, Green White Checkers. My teammates definitely want to thank Gabe and Eric tonight, and the other fellas are in there. I think Mark was in there and Gary was in there. So, they struggled a little bit, but they'll get better each week. So, yeah, boot knockers, definitely want to thank all the boot knockers out there.
Well, great job tonight, sir, and look forward to seeing what you guys have from the rest of the way. Go enjoy this one.
All right. Thank you, Gael.
All right, we got to jump one spot further forward and say I don't know if there can be a better race for you tonight, Gabe. Get the pole, win the race, and I'm 99% sure led the most laps. Yeah, easily lead the most laps. I don't know the driver rating stuff, but you got 140.3, so I feel like it's probably one of the higher ones up there. But I'm guessing one of those ones where pretty much felt like you guys nailed everything right there, with you and Everett leading up most of the race at the points. And obviously I mentioned to Everett, then after the pit stops, it's just the three of you and then one of the non-boot knockers to kind of break away from the field there. I mean, was that same thing for him, kind of just exactly the best you could have hoped for?
Oh yeah, easily. We just really nailed our pit stops. Unfortunately, Gary and Mark got caught speeding, so that set them back a lap down. They were never able to recover. And but myself, Eric, and Everett were able to get hooked up and stay pretty much hooked up for the rest of the race. And then we had one of Davis' cousins with us. He did a great job hanging with us, and then that caution came out. If that caution hadn't came out, we were so far ahead. I mean, it was going to be really a cakewalk. But that re-racked the field and had to do it all over again there for those last few laps. But yeah, I'm not complaining at all, man.
Yeah, and like I said, I mean, you guys executed the restart perfectly, got everybody lined back up together, pretty much just about how you were prior to the yellow. So on the last pit stop, I initially thought you guys did fuel only just based on lap times, but it sounds like it was that, or based on pit time. So it sounds like you guys went lefts all the way through there as well, which I think was the right call based on some of the drivers that went fuel only. Definitely had some struggles on the pit exit, but the one thing I was bringing up was kind of the strategy where it's like, okay, you've got a big gap. Do you risk going kind of running the field to 75 on the dot, or do you leave the extra for the green white checkers? And then the yellow comes out and I see everybody riding on the apron. So I mean, how tight were you guys if we went beyond the scheduled distance?
We would have been like really close, but our thought process was just, put enough in to get us to the end. And, if a caution comes out, so be it. I think we'll be able to save enough fuel to have at least one green white checker, and I think we were right. It would have been right on the money, but luckily it didn't come to that. But yeah, we were talking about it, but we definitely wanted to do the undercut pit as soon as we had enough fuel to be able to put in the tank to get us to the end. So we definitely wanted to do that undercut, and it really worked out.
Yeah, no, it's strategy. And like you said, when you have some wiggle room to play with, like you did, it definitely makes it a little less stressful. And yeah, and you can kind of pull those strategies where it's like, okay, hey, like we can pit under green, and if it doesn't go perfectly, we're still gonna net out with a pretty solid lead. So, yeah, like I said, you guys did a really good job. So you had that one Davis cousin that was trying to spoil your party there at the end, staying with you guys and kind of keeping you honest, if you will. So. But yeah, I mean, like I said, a great job by all of you guys to manage things. And I mean, you guys were monsters on that top lane. It was a few times they could get to you, but it seems like that's about where it was. So it was a really great drive by all of you on that team, Gabe. So I definitely want to give you the floor, though, for any thanks and shouts for that win this evening.
Well, that's a classic example of your team working for you there in a super speedway. I mean, Everett did a hell of a job pushing, managing his temps. Eric did a fantastic job staying tight to him. A little bit unlucky on Eric's part there at the end. Robert was able to make a great move down the bottom and got a push from the 19th. So good job for Robert there. And of course, we had Gary back for the first time in a long time, and of course Mark. So yeah, kind of a team win there. And of course, yourself, Gael, up in the booth, Green White Checker TV, and all the admins at Area 51.
Great job tonight, sir. So I'll let you go enjoy this one with those teammates. Looks like they're hanging out waiting for you. So go enjoy this one, Gabe, and look forward to seeing you on track again soon, sir.
All right, man. Take care.
All right, that is our race winner in that number 88 of Gabe Butler. And I say once again, we can pull up our podium finishers tonight with the 88 there on top. Everett Lane second, Robert Rock rounding out the top three. And yeah, like you mentioned, I mean, some of the guys, Gary Huffines back after a while. Again, Eric Laurie had to step away for a while. Just been hanging out, just hasn't been able to drive. So really excited to see him back out track. And again, right off the bat, really, really great job by him, getting great results. So pretty much looks like not really any rust to shake off for him as well. So I again really want to thank all the drivers that come out. It was good to see as well. Again, want to wish a very happy birthday to Hayden Davis. Like I said, get in the top 5 tonight. I'm sure wanted a little bit more, but was in the running for the win. So that was always fun to see. You always want to see those guys have a good run on those types of days. And I believe on the IndyCar side of things, we are on an off week on Tuesday, so have a week off over there. But over on the Thursday side of things, we're on an off week on Thursday as well, so we'll have a slight little break here over with Area 51. We'll be back in 1 week's time there, and I'm going to spy on our schedule over here as well. And yep, so same thing here, and we'll be back. So yeah, basically a week off with Area 51. Might be some fun races. Always check that out on the Discord as well. But it's going to be some great racing coming in 1 week's time over here. So I hope everybody has a wonderful evening. And of course, as always, please take care, stay safe. Until next time, have a good night.